Perfect. Good evening and welcome. Happy Pro Bono Week. My name is Carrie Haas, and I have the privilege of serving as the chair of the 11th Judicial Circuit Pro Bono Committee. I wish that we could be in person this year, but it is great to see all of you here on Zoom. Pro bono service represents some of the noblest traditions in the legal profession. And the amount of work performed by individuals in our community is nothing short of amazing. The award that will be presented tonight to Mike Mcelveen. Mike Mcelveen, whose passion for serving others is reflected in his extraordinary commitment to the ideals of equal access to justice. This week, we celebrate National Pro Bono Week. Pro Bono Week is intended to inspire even greater pro bono participation by lawyers throughout the nation. This initiative provides an opportunity for legal services organizations to commemorate the vitally important contributions of lawyers and to recruit and train the many additional volunteers required to meet the growing demand for legal services. I am not only proud to be a lawyer, but especially to be a lawyer here in the 11th Judicial Circuit, where our commitment to pro bono is so strong. Thank you to all who contribute your time and talent to helping others through your pro bono legal services, especially during the last year and a half. Now, let me tell you more about the 11th Judicial Circuit Pro Bono Committee. The committee is a joint effort between PILI, the Public Interest Law Initiative, and its legal aid partners in the area. It is comprised of lawyers and judges from across the circuit who strive to enhance equal access to justice by encouraging and promoting pro bono work in the 11th Judicial Circuit. The committee was launched in August 2013 and was originally chaired by our own Mike Mcelveen, who, of course, we are honoring here tonight. Our committee is one of the 11 that PILI has established across the state, with all having similar goals of increasing equal access to justice by promoting and enhancing pro bono legal services within a specific judicial circuit. As much as today is about celebrating the great pro bono work being done, it also serves as a reminder that there is still so much need that goes unmet. The demand for pro bono attorneys remains great, especially given the hardships created by COVID-19. There is no doubt an increase in demand for civil legal services due to the pandemic, specifically in the areas of eviction, foreclosure, domestic violence, unemployment insurance, and consumer scams. As Adrian most likely will discuss later on, some courts in Prairie State's legal services coverage area have reported a significant increase in residential eviction filings. And Prairie State's rental housing cases have more than doubled over the numbers from a year ago. I encourage you to visit the link that has been put into the chat to learn more about pro bono opportunities here in the 11th Circuit with PILI, Prairie State, Land of Lincoln, and the Immigration Project. You will also hear more about that later in the program. And now I'd like to introduce tonight's special guest speaker, the Honorable Thomas Harris of the Illinois Appellate Court, who will also be presenting the Distinguished Service Award to Mike Mcelveen for his exemplary service to the community and his longtime support of pro bono. Justice Harris has been committed to equal access to justice throughout his career and understands the importance of pro bono work. His career history includes serving as an accomplished civil trial lawyer. He was then elected resident circuit judge of Logan County in 2008. He is an appointed member of the Supreme Court Commission on Access to Justice and previously served on the Special Supreme Court Committee to study courtroom and judicial security. He is a member of the Illinois Judges Association, Illinois State Bar Association, the Logan County Bar Association, and the Lincoln Douglas Inn of Court. He has served as chair of the Allerton Conference, Civil Practice and Procedures Section, and Tort Law Section of the Illinois State Bar Association. He is a past member of the Board of Directors of the Illinois Bar Foundation and a current director of the Jerome Mirza Foundation. In addition to all of this, he is also a frequent speaker at professional seminars and guest lectures at the University of Illinois College of Law. Please join me in welcoming Justice Harris.
Thank you, Carrie. And it's very good to see you. It's good to see all of you that are on the screen here. It really is an honor to be here and to be asked to take part in celebrating Pro Bono Week, and especially to be able to present this year's Distinguished Service Award to Mike Mcelveen. I have a tremendous amount of respect for all of you who have either devoted your careers to providing pro bono services, or who, as part of your private practice or government practice, find the time to do pro bono work. As lawyers, I don't know of a more honorable or benevolent act of service you can provide. You are helping people who may be facing the most difficult circumstances of their lives. They could be facing eviction, as Carrie alluded to. They could be losing government benefits. They could be going through a complicated process of divorce, potentially losing custody of a child. Those are serious issues, and we as lawyers are uniquely qualified to help, and we must help. As Carrie mentioned, I have served on the Supreme Court's Access to Justice Commission for several years now, and the commission does important work. It has provided needed change to help those who cannot afford to hire a lawyer. It has helped simplify procedures through rule changes. It has come up with uniform and simplified forms in a variety of cases. It has placed trained volunteers in many courthouses in this state to help self-represented litigants navigate the legal process. But what it doesn't do is provide legal representation. These changes that I mentioned can help self-represented litigants draft a complaint or other pleading. They may explain the various steps in a legal proceeding, but in many circumstances, that just provides access to the courtroom, not access to justice. More often than not, to obtain access to justice, a person needs a lawyer. So many cases involve complexities that no simplified form or court navigator is going to help that person get a just result. That's where pro bono representation comes in. It is critical for these folks that I've described that you be there to help them. So, why should you be someone that offers pro bono services? Why should you get involved? I'll suggest that those that are attending right now are already providing pro bono services, but maybe can provide more, or maybe convince a friend, a colleague to join in the effort. And beyond what has been mentioned to this point, why else? What other reasons are there to get involved? Well, you're a lawyer, for one thing. Just remember that you're part of a profession. You're not in a club or a guild or a trade. You are a lawyer, and as a legal professional, you have a certain duty to provide services such as these without charge to members of the community that are in need. Aside from that, what I'll call moral and ethical obligation, pro bono representation connects you with a host of like-minded folks. I look at those that are in attendance here, and these are all people that are committed to the process, committed to pro bono representation, committed to service. And, if that's, who you want to be, these are the folks you want to associate with. So it helps connect you, and well, let's call it networking if you like, but that's one of the great benefits of it. It's also a great way for you to try something new. Frankly, some of us in our legal careers in practice have maybe become very specialized, never had the opportunity to try practicing in another area. And providing pro bono legal services is a great way to do that, to be able to dip in and, if you don't do any family law work, to be able to experiment with that. And I can tell you with Mike, back in the 90s when I was in private practice, and Mike has been obviously very involved with Prairie State, but early on got me involved in Prairie State, and Gladys Paddock, who would be the point person to assign cases to people. She would call, and after I'd finished a case, and it was always the same thing. I would tell her, I'd tell her, I'll do a family case, but just it can't involve custody matters. And it was a line from a Clint Eastwood movie that always resonated with me. A man's got to know his limitations. And I just frankly, that scared me a little bit, dipping my toes in the water when child custody matters were involved. But otherwise, I got to try cases, to get involved with cases in areas of the law that I hadn't had any exposure to, and it was great. And then finally, another, I think, great aspect of it, benefit for a lawyer, is judges will love you. You will be the knight in shining armor when you come in and provide pro bono representation for these folks. I can tell you from personal experience, sitting on the trial bench, that it is frustrating, it's intimidating, it is exasperating to see two pro se litigants sitting before you. And it involves a case that they are ill-equipped to be able to handle because they are not trained, obviously, in the law, unaware of the evidentiary rules, really largely unaware of the procedures. And this was very evident in family and divorce cases when child custody matters were involved. I absolutely loved seeing pro bono lawyers getting involved in that case. And I remembered the lawyers that provided that service. So just remember, judges will love you when you do this. So now let me get to the task at hand, a very pleasant task, and that is to provide or present the Distinguished Service Award. You know him as a longtime lawyer in McLean County, a leader of the McLean County Bar. He has devoted decades of his professional life to helping provide pro bono services, especially through his work with Prairie State. He is always there to help other lawyers. He has been heavily involved in LAP for a very long time. I can tell you that he doesn't put on airs. He is self-deprecating. As someone I work with has said about him, he never takes a bow. He just quietly helps others. Plus, he's the only person I know that's a sheep farmer. So yes, Mike Mcelveen is this year's recipient of the Distinguished Service Award. Mike, congratulations.
Thank you, Tom. This is really more of a tribute to the McLean County Bar Association, though. Come Monday, 49 years ago, I was before Judge Underwood being sworn in. And as you might suspect, I was 11 years old at the time, so I aged very well. As I was coming back from the ceremony, the attorney with me said, "Now you'll be part of the Legal Aid Committee." The Bar Association at that time had a telephone number that they placed in the yellow pages, and the young attorneys were on the Legal Aid Committee. And when a need was called in, the receptionist would then forward it on to us. And I eventually worked off of that committee, and they said, "But you never really end. It goes on forever. It's part of your job." It's not charity, because charity has something to do with whether or not you wish to provide it. And this is an obligation we have. Whether we're a profession, or sometimes I just say that we have a very strong union that won't let other people do what we do without some sanction. And I go back to what Ruth Bader Ginsburg said. She says, "Lawyers have a license to practice law, a monopoly on certain services. But for that privilege and status, lawyers have an obligation to provide legal services to those without the wherewithal to pay and respond to the need outside themselves." This is what the McLean County Bar Association has been very consistent in doing. And we were thrilled to death when Prairie State came and coordinated the assistance we provide. And on behalf of the bar, I accept this recognition.
Well, congratulations, Mike, for this much deserved recognition, and our thanks to Justice Harris for being part of our celebration here tonight. We will now hear about some pro bono opportunities that are available in the 11th Circuit. We will hear from Adrian Barr from Prairie State, Danielle DeWinter from the Immigration Project, and Jessica Schneider from Appellate.
You can go ahead, Adrian.
Yeah, I was not able to unmute myself, so sorry. I think there was a block on it. So thanks, Carrie. Thanks, Jessica. I'd like to congratulate Mike. It's been a great pleasure to work with you since I came into town in 2011. You're one of the first people that I met here in McLean County, and you've just done so much to improve the justice system in McLean County. So thank you. You've helped me a lot. You've certainly helped my predecessors and helped us improve Prairie State's services to the community. So I need to say thank you for that. I'd like to highlight one of our pro bono efforts, our pro bono eviction clinic program that we're running right now at the McLean County Courthouse. And this is a collaboration between the court, the Illinois Bar Foundation, Justice Corps, and rental assistance agencies, including the Immigration Project, who's here today. We together all set out outside the eviction courtroom, and it's during the eviction call, and our wonderful volunteer lawyers and paralegals help provide legal services to tenants who are facing eviction right there in the courthouse immediately before their first court appearance. So it's a really helpful service to folks in a very stressful situation. The volunteers include retired judges, retired and current State Farm attorneys, and State Farm paralegals, and also paralegals from private law firms. And I would like to echo Justice Harris's comments. It is just a wonderful group of people. We're all working together for the greater good, trying to avoid evictions and help tenants stay in their homes. And how we're able to do that is by advising the tenants of their rights, any defenses they have, the court procedures, which are often very confusing to them and do change from courthouse to courthouse. So the local court procedures, and then what their options are. We help them make an educated choice of what they want to do right there in the courthouse right before their court date. If the tenant wants to stay and avoid the eviction, our volunteers are able to work in partnership with rental assistants to try and negotiate deals to pay and stay. And that's really our ultimate goal in these non-payment cases is everyone wins. There's rental assistance that will pay the landlord and the tenant can stay in the unit and the eviction is dismissed. The clinic really wouldn't exist without these volunteers. We've trained a number of volunteers. The eviction moratorium ended on October 3rd, and we're seeing evictions increase week to week here in McLean County and in some surrounding counties. So if you're interested in helping, interested in working with our wonderful volunteers from State Farm, wonderful retired judges who are helping out, and also the rental assistance folks, please contact me. You don't have to know about eviction law. You'll learn about it, and you can also just support. We work in teams of 2, so someone has to help take notes and also look up resources if that's necessary. So thank you so much, and I'll pass this along to either, I think, Danielle from the Immigration Project.
Thank you, Adrian. And I want to echo everyone's thoughts and everyone's gratitude for all of the advocates in the 11th Circuit. This is by far one of the best pro bono groups that I work with amongst our 86 county service area. So thank you for all of you, for all that you do for the individuals and our community members. And thank you, Adrian, for pointing out some of our social services efforts that we have been doing for those community members and many volunteers. It sounds like my husky is also echoing that. And many of the volunteers who participated who are both legal advocates and non-legal advocates supporting the cause. As for the legal side, in addition to evictions on the rise, we've experienced a lot of an increase in domestic violence during COVID, and the Immigration Project is seeing a ton of cases involving domestic violence that's needing support and or some sort of trauma that has been happening, as in my opinion, and as many are saying, due to the stresses of what COVID has put on to many of our community members. And I'd like to highlight two of our pro bonos in McLean County, retired Judge Beth Robb and Hannah Eisner, who just continue to do phenomenal work within our communities. They recently advocated for a family who experienced these kiddos, actually, they're kids, who experienced they were abandoned, abused, and or neglected by one or both of their parents in their home country. And Judge Robb and Hannah Eisner were able to obtain guardianship petitions to allow them to secure and work towards securing status here in the United States. And given the change in the law now that has allowed individuals to apply through probate court for kiddos who've experienced the same sort of trauma up to the age of 21, they're going to be able to help the older brother who was the only one left without status. And so it certainly is extremely helpful to have pro bonos who are willing to not only do immigration work, which sometimes may be a little bit out of the wheelhouse, but also participate in work that they are doing currently with family law cases and help out in these incidents, whether it's these guardianship petitions for special immigrant juvenile status, or if it's helping our clients who've experienced domestic violence ensure their custodial rights over their kids It's all very, very helpful and greatly appreciated. If you want any more additional information on how to get involved with those efforts with the Immigration Project, please feel free to reach out to me directly, as there's tons of both longer term projects, shorter term opportunities, one-day commitments, etc. So thank you, and I'll turn it to Jessica.
Thanks, Danielle. And I also echo everyone and thank you for being here. Thank you for all your wonderful work in the 11th Circuit. And thank you for these remarks tonight to remind us of the importance of pro bono work. I did want to share briefly on behalf of Land of Lincoln, who could not be represented here tonight, their biggest pro bono needs for Ford and Logan County, which recently have been for sealing or expungement of criminal records, and also advanced directives such as powers of attorney and wills, parenting cases and divorces. You can, of course, contact them if you are able to get involved in any of those cases. And on behalf of PILI, there are a couple opportunities that we have to get directly involved. One is through the Illinois Armed Forces Legal Aid Network, which provides civil legal services across Illinois and has many other organizations that are also a member of the network. But we specifically work to refer pro bono matters to volunteers in the 101 counties outside of Cook County. And that is so we can fill that gap when there is not another place where people can seek and find assistance. Usually these are a lot of family law, divorce, and parenting cases. We also see advanced directives and occasionally other areas such as guardianship. So you can sign up to get involved and take an AFLAN case. And then I wanted to highlight Illinois Free Legal Answers, which I know State Farm and many others have been involved in doing clinics and in answering questions, especially during Pro Bono Week. Free Legal Answers is a project of the American Bar Association and was created to increase access to advice and information about non-criminal legal matters for those who cannot afford legal assistance. It is basically a virtual walk-in legal clinic through a secure website where people who are residents of Illinois and are low income can ask a lawyer for help with a legal issue, and volunteer lawyers can log in at any time. It's especially important in areas of the state where there may not be a lot of attorney access, where there may be some less populous counties where people cannot access legal help. And so it really is a way to try to meet people where they are and to make sure attorneys can also meet people where they are. There was a recent quote from a Free Legal Answers client that we received that I wanted to share. I was frustrated trying to find the answers that I needed, and I was not in a position to hire or know if I needed to hire a lawyer. I received an informed and complete answer to my question, including recommendations in a very timely manner. I am following the advice given, and so far I'm getting results. Thank you again. And so we know that we have many questions coming from the counties in this circuit, and the great thing is that people can reach them from anywhere. So that is another opportunity to get involved. You can go to PILI's site to find information on all of the opportunities you've heard about and to sign up to volunteer. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you to Jessica, Danielle, and Adrian. Firsthand, I've had experience with Prairie State's rental clinic that is at the courthouse, as Adrian said, outside the eviction courtroom. And oftentimes, Adrian and I are on different sides on those transactions, but in the majority of instances, they have helped secure, as Adrian said, funds for the landlord, and it's a win-win for both parties. So their efforts have been tremendous in that regard. I want to thank you all again for joining us tonight, and most especially for all the pro bono service you provide to those in need. Last month, the ABA president issued a call to action asking attorneys across the United States to commit 10 hours of pro bono work before the end of the year. And I would echo that call for all of our attorneys here in the 11th Judicial Circuit. Happy Pro Bono Week. Thank you again, Justice Harris, and congratulations to Mike Mcelveen.
Congratulations, Mike.